How is it going, everyone? This is Nick Karaskevich, host of The Tread. We have made it to episode 6, and YouTube has not kicked me off yet. So thank you to the YouTube gods, Facebook, and everyone who's still letting me do this and not kicking me off. This week, we are talking about another one of my favorite recessive projects, and I have my wonderful good friend, Todd from VANHERPS. Say hello to all of our wonderful
crowd cheering. What's up, everybody?
Hey, look at that. Dylan's already on, ready to go.
Ready
Dylan,
to go.
you're excluded from the VIP giveaway later today because you own the show. So oh, but I think my thing is obviously I wanted to do these episodes back to back for a reason. Obviously, Puzzle and Ultramel are two of my favorite recessive projects. Ironically, when I met Todd for the first time, we were vending a Show Me show in Janesville, Wisconsin. And I had just, purchased Ultramel maybe like 1 or 2 weeks before meeting Todd. And I think it's actually ironic now, as we became friends now here over the past, 1 or 2 years now. We both work now in Puzzle. We both work now in Ultramel. And it's really just, for me, it's been one of those really cool kind of friendships, that you can kind of gain, not trying to hype up Scaled Up too much, but the expo is freaking awesome. There's no other way to say it. Dylan and Brittany do an awesome job, but that's what you get. I started Scaled Up because Todd said, man, you got to come to these expos. I did this expo in Fond du Lac, and it was like the best show I had in like 3 years. So, I think, again, like I said, that's kind of the really, unique community piece to this, both obviously around Scaled Up Expos, but just also as well, obviously around, kind of our friendship and how all that started. But
and at those Scaled Ups, like, they're just all cool people. Like, they're all like us, chatty Cathys. You could
exactly
spend 3 hours and not even get anything done. So.
Yeah, it's chatty Cathys. There's a lot of bald guys with beards. I'm one of the few guys that still have hair, but I also have the beard.
I can help you out with that.
No, I'm afraid it won't go back. But
it does happen. That happened to me. So yeah. I remember when I had beautiful hair like you at one point.
I think the big thing here is obviously, Ultramel, obviously, I think, remind me, how long have you specifically, one, been doing ball pythons, and then two, specifically been in the Ultramel project?
I've probably been doing ball pythons. I started when I was a kid, just the old black and tans, that's all there was. And then as a kid, you get out of everything. Like I've probably done, like anybody else that's in the reptile community, they've had 10 different lizards, 5 different snakes. And then coming back into it, ironically, was my daughter. I have 5 kids, and she was 12 years old, and I was going to get a damn goldfish, and she's like, "Oh, look, there's snakes." And I'm like, "You like snakes?" And she's like, "I think so." And you've been to shows. It's usually those. There's so many little girls, like their brothers are off to the back hiding, and those little girls, they have their hands out like, "I want to touch it," and that was my daughter. So I just like you, I do IT stuff outside in the outside field.
Yeah.
And I brought home some garter snakes, and one of them was a decent sized, mom that was probably 3 feet. And I was trying to explain to her that, these are not domesticated animals. And she didn't even let me finish. She just reached in barehanded, grabbed the biggest one. It latched onto her finger. She's so proud looking at it, saying how cute it was. And my 16 and 18-year-old boys at that point were running for the hills, So, and that was, that start was probably, I want to say 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, she's all grown up, and I have grandbabies now, and the grandbabies come to look at the snakes, but not, she doesn't care anymore. She's too busy. So.
Yeah. But what about the Ultramel thing? Was the Ultramel was that the olive branch, like between going from goldfish to orange to orange?
Orange to orange. So it was. I went to my first Tinley show. It's probably about a decade ago, and Flatfoot Reptiles, Ray Wilk, had all these Ultramel. He was so ahead of the game. He was throwing out world's first left and right. And I'm like, I saw my first, just like you, the Ultramel pinstripe is like fantastic. I mean, Ultramel pin is like the best looking pinstripe there is.
Yeah.
So, he just had these beautiful, bright Ultramel pins. And I'm like, how much, man? I want one of those. And kind of where I got started on it. And then we became friends, and everything Ultramel that I'd started out with was through Ray, because his theory, which I kind of believe even to this day, is a lot of the people that had Ultramel had het Carmel albino.
Yeah.
Because everybody was trying to make the first Camarillo, and I believe there's a lot of het Carmel albino and a lot of Ultramel stuff, and I don't fully believe all the Ultramel stuff I see out there is Ultramel.
Yeah, and I think that's actually kind of interesting. I mean, Rare Genetics is focusing on everything right now as far as everything we care about from big projects, but you almost think about it, that Carmel albino shed test would almost be just as valuable for things like Ultramel, because I would sure as heck want to know, because I know like some people too that early put it into DG, before the project was totally dead. And it's like, man, that already set them behind, because if those hets just happen to pass, and then it's 5 years down the line, and you're trying to make DG pieds, and you make DG Carmel albino pieds.
Yeah, right. So it's, I mean, they're all wonderful snakes, but we all know that the Carmel albinos just have those kinking problems that are way more consistent. And I don't think the colors are there that the Ultramel have.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. I feel like Carmel is straight up like, I don't know. I mean, you can't really tell from my room. Probably looks way more orange than it is, but I feel like Carmel albino was like my room, and there's barely any contrast, like how you see between the wood and the wall. Yeah. Ultramel, I feel like you really get more burgundy in a lot of the tones, and to a degree, almost a maroon, I would say, depending on the combo.
Yep. And it's just, I'm sure I'm going to have some, some Carmel albino haters, just like you would with the TSK and the VPI and all that. But
no, right. I mean, and look, Steve's here. Steve's your courier. He
is. He's my bud, man. He's my neighbor.
He's your neighbor. He's your ship your reptiles when you can't make it to Scaled Up shows.
He's my pickup, and lied to his daughter about it being his. And
it was funny because she was there at that show. I know. I hope Steve's kids aren't watching. I hope I don't throw him under the bus some more.
No, they already know.
I apologize, Steve. I remember I was there. I was like, hey, I'll throw you a screaming deal. I said on another one, just because you're friends with Todd. Ironically, though, the brother of Todds is now available, so maybe you and Steve can get matching sets.
Well, his wife was his daughter was freaking out when he brought it back, because he told her he went and picked it up, and she knows a little bit about snakes, so she's like, "How much did that cost?" And he told her, and she's like, "When did you get how?" Like this and that. So it was pretty funny. I mean, they're beautiful. It's one of my favorite in the collection. Like, to have black pastel and pastel. Like, who would have thought pewter with acid would turn out the way it does?
No, right. Yeah,
it's a game changer.
And to clue everyone in, so me and Todd last year I was telling Todd that I wanted Orange Dream in my Ultramel stuff, because I had some projects I wanted to work it into. Because right now I'm working a lot with my highway stuff into Ultramel, as well as got a couple of the things kind of going from a calico black pastel perspective with Ultramel. So I really wanted that OD in there for the goal of being able to make, something like an El Diablo, but make it in Ultramel. Todd hooked me up, had this Enchi OD Ultramel, and he's like, "Hey, I got this boy." And then that's how it all happened. And then that's how Todd got one of the acids and stuff. I mean, from my perspective, I mean, it was a win-win. It basically, it fit the hole in my project. I mean, your boy, I think, is probably going to end up breeding at the end of this season.
He's such a strong, that whole clutch is just, they're eaters, man.
No, I know.
They'll take your finger off if you open it.
What we need to do is we need to get Steve to buy the brother of yours. That way you guys have matching ones. You guys dress up in like those like old school British bananas and pajama style underwear.
Oh, one of them kind of.
Yeah, do one of those kind of things. Do a promotion for Scaled Up.
Be careful, because I know Steve, and I might show up and you'll have like cow costumes for both of us or something.
Steve, if you
don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
Do it. I'll give you a deal of a lifetime,
Oh,
Steve, if you do it. Look at this, Gary.
He would owe me.
Look at this. Gary's coming on with his brand new with the Reptipos. Folks, if you don't know about Reptipos, I definitely say go check that out. I kind of call it like, I don't know. It's like if Facebook was reptile cool and had a baby with like Morph Market and Fauna Classifieds and like 5 other social media sites, but it was all reptiles and there were no rules. That's Reptipos, folks. So if you don't know, you should totally go out there and go check that out. Go say hi to Gary. Gary's going to be on here next week. So anything,
Gary.
Anything that's coming out Reptipos wise, just start nailing Gary with questions next week.
I'm game. See, you already started.
Yeah, he's game. There we go.
You saying I'm going to show up with a set of udders at our next show or something?
Yeah. Put it on a billboard to help advertise lacrosse, which is going to be the new location for Scaled Up. But
move over lacrosse.
I think that's another thing, obviously. So I know you do obviously mainly the Scaled Up shows. I think you do a couple other ones as well, like Janesville and stuff.
Got Sewer Fest this week.
Sewer Fest. I mean, for you, I mean, do you have a favorite one out of there? Don't worry, I'm sure no one on here will hang you one if there's one that's your favorite over the others.
I don't know. Like it was probably. I mean, I know. Dylan was pushing for me for months. He's like, "Listen, we have a Halloween thing coming up." Just because, I mean, I don't know. There's people that don't know what else I do and stuff, but we have
to bring this up. This is
okay.
This is epic. If you don't know Todd for snakes, you're going to know Todd for this. I'm going to let Todd. I mean, I don't want to give away the awesome surprise here.
Well, it started about 5 years ago. My kids were getting older, and my youngest was 12, and the next one was 14, and my oldest is way older. So I had been trick or treating for 20 something years, and I'm like, I just want to scare kids at home at this point. So I told the kids this is my last year. I used to dress up and go trick or treating with them, and I asked who they wanted me to be. So they said Hagrid from Harry Potter. So I went all out, man. I made stilts and the outfit, and of course I needed the wig and needed a longer beard. And they asked, it just blew up on Facebook, and they asked if I wanted to do character lunch and dinners for kids with Down syndrome. So that's kind of where it started, and that was in Jefferson. And a lot of people, when you say Jefferson or Edgerton, they kind of acknowledge what it was, because the outing was so big that I think in Jefferson that year they had 50,000 people in attendance, so I was just there for this lunch and dinner, but I stopped in between just to have pictures with the kids and stuff, and it blew up on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and now I do 3, 4, 5, 6 shows a year for pretty different weird places. Like I do the Timber Rattlers in Appleton. Actually, I've had help from Steve with that. They've helped me because I do snakes as well. So I bring the snakes and educate people with the snakes as care of magical creature classes.
Yeah.
And that's what we call it. So I have some other places that I do throughout Wisconsin and Illinois that have kind of, I didn't realize it would get as big as it was. And it was just because I was going to dress up one year. So now I'm doing the hokey pokey on stilts and
and the Chicago Wolves. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. I've done some stuff at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, and so it's fun. I mean, I love to entertain. I've entertained most of my adult life. I mean, back in the day, I was lead singer in bands and stuff. I guess part of this is just I like to entertain. I like
Right.
to.
What kind of band was this?
Oh, it was hard rock, heavy metal. Some of the Godsmack, Disturbed, Lamb of God, Atreyu, like everything, all the way to Ugly Kid Joe and Poison, and we were called Group Therapy. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just moving forward and stuff. I just the kids are way better than a bunch of drunk people enjoying your music. So just the love I had, like especially the kids with the Down syndrome and stuff, because they didn't
Yeah.
know the difference between reality and fantasy. So I'd get a 60-person hug and they'd almost take me out of my stilts. And
Yeah.
that you hold to your heart better than you can with anything else in this world. So
No,
and
right.
that same with these expos. Like I have everybody's got that special snake they like to bring to shows and stuff,
Yeah.
and or something that they bring to the table. And you're there partly to try to sell your merch, but the other half is just you love educating people on your love and your passion of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So and that holds a special heart. And yeah, how can you not smile when you get that mom that's deathly afraid, and their 5-6 year old daughter comes up, and they want to hold and touch and know everything, and they want to hug it and kiss it and squeeze it all
Yeah.
day. And
Well,
how do you
and we were talking about that like the last the Fond du Lac show, which was what was that, the beginning of April? I mean, the Fond du Lac show. I mean, we were talking about it. There were lines by your table this time. I was like trying to figure out what that was, and you were telling me
yeah
afterwards, you're like, man, no one had seen a scaleless snake before, so everyone
yeah
wanted to hold it.
yep
And I know we've talked about that before about like how while scaleless snakes, maybe from a breeding perspective, I get that there might not be full viability with it. I think
right
that there's
right
a huge educational perspective, because number one reason people are afraid to hold reptiles and snakes is actually the scales.
Oh, you'd be
Oh,
surprised. Like people that don't like snakes, when they come and look at the scaleless, it almost looks cartoony.
yeah,
They don't have ventricle slots by their nose, so it's a cleaner look. The colors are more lavender. So
yeah,
like everybody just like, and then when they hold it, it feels like velvet. So they're like, oh my gosh, and they don't want to let it go. And they're like, I was gonna get a hairless cat, but now I'm thinking of getting a scaleless snake. And moving forward on that part, like I I think people dropped out of the scaleless part because of the scaleless, which
yeah,
is a super form.
right,
But I feel the scaleless head, I think a better name for it, and I think they're compatible, is micro scale.
right, yeah,
I think it's a better name for it because the way I look at it is like a TV. You got the 720, pixel TV, and then you got the 1080 whatever pixel TV. I
yeah,
think micro scale is a better name because, like, looking at a black pastel and then looking at a black pastel scaleless head, or looking at a pastel and a pastel scaleless head, an enchi or an enchi scales, they look completely different. Their
yeah,
patterns change. Their colors are almost desert ghostish.
yeah,
So I think somebody down the road is going to hit a banger. Like they're
yeah.
gonna they're gonna
No,
they're gonna make something with those combos, and it's just gonna
and
be scale head, not scaleless. It's no different than spot nose. Like the spot nose is great to put into a lot of things, but you
right,
don't want to make power balls.
yep,
You don't
yeah.
have to.
No, and I think that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, I would rename scaleless head Costanza, and then we can call it the Super Costanza if you hit a full scaleless, because it's balding.
That's funny. That's
But
funny.
Gary wants you to dress up for Sewerfest as Hagrid.
Man, you have no idea how much that affects your ankles and your calves. Because I gotta lean. I need a bigger table. If you help me up with a higher table, I'll consider it.
We should,
It's it's hard to bend down when you're 8 foot.
yeah,
I have been to a couple shows. Like I was at uh, one of the hockey ones, and this guy came up to stand next to me to take pictures, and he was almost eye to eye with me.
was his name
And
Shaq?
it felt like it. I couldn't believe, like, dude, with those stilts, I'm like 8 foot tall, and this guy's like standing eye to eye with me. That's a crazy life. That's all I got to say.
Gary's calling Shane right now.
Oh shit. Yeah, game on. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Like I said, I love entertaining people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, I think like you've mentioned that. I mean, I know Chris mentioned it back on his episode and stuff. I don't want to say that some people have lost the fun in the hobby and only
Yeah.
care about the money. But I do think that, there's a big piece to that.
There's a hand in
And
hand.
yeah, and that's why, like, I just look, I ask, and I mean, obviously, if there's, customers listening right now or in the future, I hope you understand, my perspective. I always tell people, if someone spends 20, 30 minutes and they're explaining and giving you all of this information, at that point they've made an investment in you, and
Yeah.
I just kind of always ask people, like, if someone's going to make that type of an investment, you know make sure, obviously, to try to pay that forward, try to rep that person's business, try to give them business, because a lot of us here, realistically, like, it's not about, I'm sorry, like the Corvette lifestyle, living in mansions, that does,
No,
I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist, but it
it's
really,
far and few.
it's exactly. A lot of us are just trying to break even, have some fun, have some stress relief away from our day jobs. And this is what we do,
It's
so
our product shoes.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you say you like Puzzle and Ultramel, but let's be real, man. You like everything. Like
Right.
it's the game of genetics that you like.
Yeah.
You get to
And
create.
that's really a good point. I think it's actually a pretty good comparison. I mean, there's not many hobbies that I know of besides reptiles and probably waiting in line for Jordans that you see
Yeah.
lines wrap around buildings and people go, "What are you doing at like 8 in the morning?" On a Sunday.
Right.
And it's, I'm waiting in line to get a reptile, waiting in line to get a gecko, a ball python, a bearded dragon, or I'm waiting in line to get a new set of Air Jordans. So,
Yeah.
um, Ultramel
And it
project wise, I mean, oh, you were going to say something.
No, go ahead. I mean, that's
I was going to say, Ultramel project wise, I mean, where are you excited about? I want to make sure that I give some Ultramel people
oh
some
yeah. And
love.
because me and you have talked so much about we're kind of on the same boat. Like
Yeah.
uh I saw my first I think Brad Boa has an Ultramel puzzle. Is that who has the Ultramel puzzle? Did you know?
Brad Boa has one.
Yeah.
Josh Lundberg at Ball Python Shed has
Oh
one.
yeah, he does too. Yeah.
Winston Smith, WHS, or Brock Wagner, one of them have it because I know they do some co-breeding.
Oh,
So
maybe it was
they
Brock.
might
Yeah,
they might both have it.
yeah.
Sean, I don't know if you're on from SRS. Did you end up hitting one the other last year? I think you might have hit one, but I think total, I mean, there's only about like a half dozen or so that are at least known, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's puzzle's a pattern breaker upper, and it's kind of got a like. I think there's a head influence as well. I mean, if you have head puzzles, there's a color to it, that's not normal. Kind of like head Ultramel has a brighter. So putting them together and then adding some other genes, so you got that, the puzzle
Right.
changing that pattern and the color
Yeah.
addition.
And that's something I'm really excited about. Everyone's gonna go, hate on pastel and piss on pastel all they want. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I got into Ultramel because some of the pastel Ultramel combos are they're really, really cool how they age.
No, aging is
Yeah,
that's a
I probably should have just brought up. I wish I would have had her up here.
dude. You
My
are
Black Peter Yellow Belly Ultramel girl. I mean, she's so cool. She's so cool. She's like reverse Ultramel. I feel like
it's
almost.
so you're so on point with that with the pastel. So I made a pastel Enchi Orange Dream Ultramel last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I even told you, I was like, I the Enchi Orange Dream Ultramel are awesome. That one is just meh, but it was a female, so I was going to hold
Right.
it back because she's a powerhouse. She is way better looking than my Enchi Orange Dream now. The pastel has taken, through the 6-7 months now. She's just
Right. And I mean, I would say that. I mean, there's a lot of things I think like that we've talked about. Like, I think Pin's another one in Ultramel. Pin Eye of the Egg in Ultramel, don't get me wrong, before it even sheds out, looks freaking wicked. But
yeah.
like for me, like I'll be honest, like what I haven't seen yet in Ultramel is what I call, poor man's monsoon, which is the Nanny Mojave pins. I really want to see that in Ultramel as it ages, just because even without the Ultramel and its normal complex, without
Yeah.
even throwing pastel or anything, the colorations and the tone of your pinstripe are almost like more like a pewter coloration.
It changes. I do have I have a banana jigsaw
Yeah.
Ultramel, and he's probably 4 years old now.
There, there's a good one. How do you feel about banana and Ultramel? I know that that's a very like some people love it, some people hate it.
I think it takes away from the Ultramel.
Yeah,
I it's it's like I love the look of a banana,
right.
but I don't love the look of a pastel banana.
Yeah, yeah,
That's kind of what Ultramel it does with banana. I feel like when
right.
you put banana with Ultramel, the glows, the purple hues, the bright oranges, they're not there,
Yeah,
which is weird. Like you would think in every aspect, you would think, oh, this is going to be awesome. So,
right. Well, what was
but
that one that I sent you? I sent you one this week that was really wild looking. What was it? It was an Ultramel, like Mojave leopard, like Hepide. I feel like there's one other gene in there that I'm forgetting, but you remember how purple that was? And that
was
was an
that
Ultramel. There was no
was that the
banana
one
or
with
anything.
was that the one with red stripe in it?
Yeah, oh, that's what it was. There was red stripe in there
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that's another one. I mean, I
That's my
think
new favorite gene.
yeah. Yeah.
I want to put that in everything. When I saw, like, I was with Steve at Tinley, and I don't know who had it. Oh, it was Kabelka. I think it was the
Okay.
first Coral Glow red stripe clown, and it had something else in it. And I'd never seen like
Oh, that's
reds
the
come out
the red stripe coral glow scarecrows. Yeah.
beautiful, like
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
What?
see, and that's my thing is like I don't know. I've started to shift away from banana. I think just because
Yeah,
the more I've seen Ultramil develop, I
age.
yeah,
Yes,
age and
yes.
develop, but some of the purples, because I think a lot of people get into banana, at least maybe, or maybe that was just me. I get
No.
it because of the purples. I'm like, look, I
Yeah.
love my super banana Mojave Fire Confusion. Sean, what's up? You're on. So that's from Sean. I love that girl. I mean, because she's purple, she's clean, there's no speckles, there's no nothing. But realistically, I mean, like outside of that, I mean, I'll be honest, I mean, like I've shrunk a lot of my banana stuff off just because
You
I've
start seeing
seen
the ultramel age.
I start seeing things that I don't even like. Most people know I hate belt complex stuff. Like I don't have a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
belt complex. I only started re-adding some because I like it in puzzle, and then the other reason was because I like it in Ultramil, and I'm really excited to see it in Ultramil puzzle because I think that the purple will just be
Yeah.
off the walls. I mean,
Yeah.
for
Butters and lessers and puzzles look pretty
yeah,
awesome.
I
So
mean, give me a purple and orange snake all day.
right, right.
Yeah,
And I had seen that, and I think that's why people started to fade away from pastel. Honestly,
right.
is but it was only because the gene was in the wrong snakes.
Yeah,
Like you put pastel in the right combinations, and it's bright. It holds its color.
yeah.
That's kind of what I. Top Moon says, "Hey,
Yeah,
what's up?"
Top
See
Moon says,
Sean.
"Hey, great show so far."
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and see, I think this is another thing, just throwing it out there too. I mean, look, I mean, some of these combos, some of the Ultramil talks that we have and stuff like that. I mean, like those are the types of things that you get at, like again, not trying to like prep scaled up too much, but I mean, those are the types of talks you get at scaled up that you might not get potentially at a huge gigantic show because there's not 10,000 people through the door and you don't have 30 seconds to make a decision.
I
Sometimes
don't know about that. They're Fond du Lac. What were you
that
guys
that
hitting? What'd you
that's
guys hit
true.
at
It's
this
like
last Fond du Lac?
I,
That was pretty
I
impressive.
feel like it was like 2,000 or 2,500. I mean, there were a ton of people through the
They're
door. I
doing
know.
they're doing so good at their shows are just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
So
I know the bearded dragon. Those couple bearded dragon people, I think, almost completely sold out. But
yeah,
I think that's kind of my thing, though. Is I mean, like obviously, I found my one missing Ultramil piece from you, and like I was talking to Dylan about this too. I mean, like last year, I mean, I was looking for another piece for my DG Pied stuff, and I mean, like I didn't know Top Moon existed and was basically 2-3 hours away from me, just over the border in Wisconsin. Found another piece for my DG Pied project right there, and I think that that's a big part of kind of some of these local
there's a
and
lot of silent
yeah,
creepers, man.
and and I honestly I like that because honestly,
Yeah.
every single time I buy, I've said this before, sometimes buying from the biggest social media presence, everywhere, doesn't mean that I'm going to get the best animal. Some of the stuff that, I've bought from people that are just, even if they've been in the industry for 10, 20 years, but they're not the biggest name, but they're names that because they grind it out, is what I
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
They put a lot of passion, they put a lot of care. I mean, and I think honestly, I hate to say it, but I mean that's a big reason I think I've had the luck that I've had, is from buying from people like Sean, like you, like Top Moon,
Same.
where
Like I like buying. They put more. I don't want to sound mean or prudish to say they put more pride in it, but they have more of a reason to take the pride in it because that's a smaller collection. It's their thing, Yeah, a lot of the guys that I see on here right now, I know take pride in
right.
the stuff they have,
And I think that goes across the board. I mean, it's not just us with the ball python side. I mean, that's the tarantula side. Folks like John Apple, One Love,
the
that's not
geckos.
new. Geckos. I mean, Gary, Dylan, Wally. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of other gecko people. I'm sorry, I'm not well versed on there. I mean,
I think I'm doing okay, and then Top Moon comes out with something, and I'm like, oh, he beat me to it. And but I met these guys at Scaled Up, and they're they're just as passionate about what's going on as we are. So,
and I almost want to say that half hour before the show starts and like that half hour to hour after when everyone's been like tearing down, like that's some of the most fun I have at an expo between like some of the stuff that we do. I mean, Gary's usually good for it between, his camera or coming over to, crack a joke at somebody or, I mean, Gary's saying everything. Come on, better sell out, right? Everyone better sell out. Everyone, you're going to sell out today. So, I think, there's just there's a fun, aspect, I think, to those expos. And, I'd even highlight, I mean, I can't speak for everyone here. I mean, but I mean, even from, I know like a customer perspective, I mean, you're seeing everyone across the board now. I think it's scaled up from people looking for their first $50 snake to, I mean, last year I got like chastised by like one of my customers. So like, oh, you didn't bring your Desert Ghost stuff to Scaled Up? And I was like, well, I didn't think anyone would be like looking for DG Pied stuff.
Man,
so like I held it, I didn't bring it.
Yeah.
Right. It's changed. And I think that says a lot about how the market, how Wisconsin is developing from a reptile community, and a lot of that is a reflection of all of the hard work that Dylan has put in and Brittany has put in, and the entire Scaled Up team, as well as all of the vendors that have continued to support, continued to grow. I mean, I think we've maxed out the Green Bay room almost. I mean,
and I think it's funny. Where is it? Is it Rothschild that has their pet stores and Ace Hardware?
Yeah, their pet store is the Ace Hardware. Yeah,
so,
I mean,
when you get into places like that, these people come to these shows. I started bringing more stuff because even if they can't afford it when they're there, they know what they want. So they're like, they take a card, and some of those people take those cards, and they're like, hey, I saw you have this. I want it. Do you still have it?
And that's a big thing. I mean, I would say last year, I mean, I did more sales as it related to Scaled Up that maybe didn't come, like they didn't buy at the show, but they were the people who took the card, and a week later, a month later, 2 weeks later, it was again, hey, what do you have? Or I was looking at this, and this. Which ones of them do you still have? Or I can't remember the price on this. I mean, I think I would say out of I forget how many animals I shipped last year. I think it was somewhere around like 50 or so that I shipped out that I didn't sell at shows. But out of those 50 animals, I mean, I would say that at least 50% of them ended up going to people in the like Wisconsin and Scaled Up kind of region.
Which I love because I don't have to ship some of them. They're willing to meet me an hour and a half,
100%. I think the couple of Tractor Supplies up in Wisconsin probably got a lot of business for me last year.
In the parking lot.
That was like my meetup place. I'm like, where's like an animal friendly place that Pete is not going to be? I'm like, let's look for a farm.
Ace Hardware.
Yeah, Ace Hardware.
No, I mean, and it's just there's a lot of hassle with shipping now, the prices and everything. I mean, and not knowing, like
Right.
yesterday I just shipped my only other scaleless. So I sold my black pastel scaleless to a guy in Texas.
Yeah.
But we went from 80 degrees to 30 degrees in 1 week. So, you're cryopacking, you're throwing heat on because it's 38 degrees in the morning here, and in Texas it's 90 degrees. So not having to deal with that, like, I know, like, Dylan and them from Scaled Up that run it, Dab Exotics, if they wear their hearts on their sleeves, and they are always like, did you do good? Did you do bad? It really doesn't matter. It's all about the advertisement platform, and it comes
Yeah.
out in the end. Like people
Right.
call,
Right. And
So
and I mean, I think if you look at this, I mean, we're growing. I mean, I saw 16. Now we were at 17 and someone dropped off. But I mean, as the show's been growing, I think that a lot of it is obviously scaled up folks getting other folks to come in, because I mean, again, as the show goes on, like I've been mentioning people, towards the end of the show, we're gonna be raffling off these tickets. And like Gary said, I mean, if you like Todd, if you like Scaled Up, if you like this podcast, if you don't think that like I'm completely wasting your time at night, like please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because this is the first one of our Scaled Up kind of expo vendor highlights. I mean, we've got Gary coming up next week. I've got Dylan and Brittany and the Scaled Up crew coming on after that. We got a short 1 week break going on to doing one of our local pet stores. That's kind of one of my main rodent supplier.
cool.
But then after that, I mean, I haven't put it out yet, but I mean, we are going to have Wally on from Supreme Gecko. We're still looking to add a couple other vendors to come on. We're looking at round tables. I mean, I want people to understand and look at this. I mean, going into the summer, it's okay if you live 500 miles away from Wisconsin. It's okay. Guess what? You've got Wisconsin Dells. You've got Baraboo, Wisconsin. You've got Door County. You've got Lake Geneva. You've got all these places that you can go visit, make a vacation, and then say on Sunday, you know what, we're going to go to a Scaled Up show. We're going to use these VIP tickets and we're going to have a blast. So, think about it that way too, guys. I mean, if you're in Kansas,
and there's everything there. I mean, there's everything there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know what? I mean, if you guys come from over 500 miles away, Steve has promised to get matching cow suits with Todd, and they will wear them to the Scaled Up show. They'll take a picture with you and they'll sign the autograph on Todd's original record from back when he sang in a band.
Oh yeah.
That's a deal you can't get anywhere. That's
nice
straight
little
up
autograph.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Grammy winning record right there.
Come smell our derriere.
See, look at that. Door County is a great vacay.
It is.
See, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Door County, I mean, you look at the Green Bay shows, it's not far. I mean, I know
it's right around the corner.
I know vendors who do that, who will go up, they'll drive up, they'll take the weekend, they'll go with their kids, take a couple extra days off, they'll enjoy Door County, and then they'll go do Scaled Up as a family on Sunday. So, definitely, I mean, think about that. I mean, with a lot of these local and regional shows, I think there's a lot of cool ways you can make a trip out of it. I mean, if you like reptiles, if you like exotics, if you like frogs, if you just want to do something different, I mean, this is a way to.
Even if you don't want a live animal, there's people there with posters and jewelry, and there's stuff for everybody. So.
Look at this reptile breeder vacation. You know what? I think I'm going to start my own Airbnb. We'll call it. Hey Gary, can we add this into Reptipost, like Airbnb for reptiles? So we'll do Airbnb. You go there, you get the full reptile experience. Maybe we I don't know. We have a thing like find the snake. We'll let a retic loose in the room, and people got to go find it.
Be like the oiled up pig. We'll get a couple oiled up bearded dragons.
Yes, we can. See, there's so many cool things that you can do, and I hate to say it, but I mean, going to Scaled Up and getting these VIP tickets still going to be cheaper than taking your date to the movies. So you got to remember that too, as well, folks. I mean,
and it's hours of fun. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you're going to learn, even if you don't like snakes or don't like tarantulas or don't like lizards. Is it because you don't like them or because you don't know?
No, they just don't like me.
You smell okay. I'll vote you for that.
I mean, and I would just tell people, I mean, look, I mean, we're up to 4 right now. I mean, come on, like Gary said, if we can get those likes up, I mean, what that does also as well is, this is a cross reflection as well on Scaled Up, on the shows, on everyone, on these vendors. So get those likes up, get those subscribes up. it's a really big thing because, at the end of this, what I end up doing is I add hashtags to it. I end up sharing it out. This ends up going up to Spotify, ends up going up to Apple Music. It's going to eventually be on Amazon. So we're going to have people all over the world listening to this, and Scaled Up is going to be a national phenomenon. So the more likes, the more shares, the more subscribes, the better it's going to be, and realistically, I tell people too, even if you're not looking to buy anything, hate to say it, some of the characters that are there, I don't know. I still think Gary is one of the funniest people that I've met to this day. There's no other way to put it. It's just it's a good crowd of people.
There's a lot of very interesting, articulate people there.
Yeah, 100%. So, we're coming into that that perfect moment here. We're coming into right around that point. And I'm gonna ask everyone. Are we ready to start giving away some VIP tickets? Do we want to get hyped up to get some VIP tickets given away, folks? Everyone's gonna be shy and say nothing. Yeah. Well, I hope so because you know what? We got a little bit of hype video here just to make you want these VIP tickets even more.
Let's do it.
Already.
It's done already. I was jamming.
I know. Everyone was jamming. That was Todd's music from back in the day, from his original record.
I was doing the little dub parts in the back.
Yeah, exactly. So, without further ado, it is VIP time. So, if you were listening during the show, Todd mentioned something that's very special to him that he does besides breeding ball pythons. That he works with children with Down syndrome, that he goes to hockey events and games, that he goes to other places and dresses up as what character? First person to put that in the chat wins these VIP tickets. I can either send them off to you or I can have them sitting at will call for you for pickup at the next Scaled Up show that you will be at. First one to put it in chat, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, doesn't matter, will win these tickets. Go, folks.
Can I play?
I need some Jeopardy music here. Come on, folks. I'll give you a hint. You might see it at Universal Studios. It's really tall.
It's really tall. Yep.
Really tall. Does no one want these VIP tickets? Come on, folks. No, you can't tell me. And these are good for any scaled up show, including the new location. That's 2 tickets. You got a hot date, boom, take them to Scaled Up. Your kid wants to do something on the weekend, boom, take them to Scaled Up. So what was that one thing that, there we go, Willow Nelson.
That's the girl I was talking to you about. That's my daughter.
That's your daughter?
It is.
She just won the Scaled Up tickets.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe she still does like snakes.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. So I can either send these to Todd. I can send them to you. I can leave them at Scaled Up will call. What you can go ahead and do, I'll go ahead and post it in the chat here. But I'll go ahead and post my email. That way you can email the tread and actually confirm how you would like to receive your wonderful Scaled Up tickets here. So give me 1 sec as I paste that email in the post here. Yep, exactly.
Sorry.
It's too good. Right there. That is my podcast email. So Willow, feel free to shoot me an email and let me know if you'd like me to send these to you, send them to Todd, and you can pick them up at your dad's house. Or if you want me to have them sitting at whatever Scaled Up show you're planning to go to next, and have them sit at the will call for you. But they will have your name on it and be ready to roll for you. So I appreciate it. And I mean, look, I mean, everybody, we are going to be giving away more tickets next week with Gary. And I might even up the game in Gary's. I'm still debating, but I don't know, Gary. I mean, should we throw in some Reptipost swag? I mean, I might have to go buy a bunch of Reptipost swag and, you know, put that in with the VIP tickets on top of it. So, you know, there's going to be more coming. I got 20 of these tickets. Those are only the first 2 of 20 of these. Look, that we're giving away this year. That's right.
With
folks.
a new location.
With a new location. So, I mean, we're not just going to be raffling these off. There might be some at some point that maybe get raffled off with tarantulas, that maybe get raffled off with snakes, or fun, cool swag packs, discount codes. There's going to be a lot more coming. This is just the very first one. But, I mean, I appreciate, you know, obviously everyone, you know, kind of keep joining here, keep seeing the likes kind of starting to go up here right now as well. I mean, but you know,
give away 2 vendor tables.
give away 2 vendor tables.
There you go, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, let me know what send me let me know which locations you're doing. I'll just I'll tell Dylan here to add 2 tables to my tab.
Oh, look at there he is. He's already saying he can make it happen.
Yeah, see, we can make it happen. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think that's the other thing too. I mean, you know, we do have people, you know, obviously that come out. I mean, like Rothschild, I think, is another location. I mean, I remember when we first did Rothschild, like you were saying, the Ace Hardware, and there was like, I just remember we met the customer that had the wolf. I don't want to say who he was because I don't want to give him in trouble for having the wolf.
Oh, is it the guy that's talking about having his own bobsled team with wolves?
Yeah, with wolves.
Yeah.
So like that's the other thing too. I'll say, like, man, you meet some really interesting customer. I learned a lot about wolves and bobsledding and how to train wolves. And I think so. Like now, Rothschild's not the new location. La Crosse is. But if you look at Rothschild, how fast I would say it grew all the way up until last year, and then I missed, you know, the first one this year with Rothschild. I'm kind of bummed. But I mean, that show's grown, you know, exponentially, you know, as well, you know, both from a customer base, how packed it gets, the amount of vendors it gets. And that's really another one. It's actually a really fun location.
Well, I mean, their pet store is Ace Hardware. So
right.
To have all this new stuff come to the table is.
I think we would all sell out. I don't know about you, Gary, but I think we'd all sell out if we offered a free hammer and nails with every reptile sold. I was going to see if Black & Decker maybe sponsor me for the Rothschild shows. But
pretty impressive, though. We still have to make a trip to that Ace Hardware because I heard they got a lot of. Yeah, it's better than the reptile stores around there.
I'm like waiting to go to the Ace Hardware, and there's gonna be like a black dragon sitting there, and you're like, "Holy cow!" You go in their ball python section, there's a monsoon,
right,
somebody wholesaled out.
Right.
Oh, but don't even get me started on that wholesale. I can't remember. Did I tell you about this one with the puzzle that somebody tossed wholesale this year at 8-Pet?
No.
So there was a 5-gene puzzle mail.
Oh, you can't even find them on Morph Market right
exactly. Now. It was a pastel. I remember it was pastel, red stripes, spot nose, yellow belly puzzle. I'm forgetting 1 gene, but that's
like $7,000.
$7,000, and someone had it wholesale. Went to 8-Pet. One of the employees bought it for $400.
Oh my God!
Put it in a fish tank, and me and my buddy was the one who found out about this, and we started he threw stupid money at it. He's like, dude, I'll give you $3,000 just so it doesn't sit in a fish tank. She's like, no, it's gonna be my pet. So,
and all of us reptile breeders are like, oh, I could put that to this and that and that.
No, right. Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty it's a darn good deal.
Yeah.
What's scary is that I really want to know who that breeder was. What did they keep? If that was their wholesale.
Maybe. I mean, I got red stripe. I just got my first visual puzzle, and it's a red stripe bumblebee. I guess that's called a buzz bumblebee puzzle.
Yeah.
So I just got that last week, so I'm pretty.
So if we add that and you made
Ultramel, yeah.
Well, Ultramel, but I was gonna say, but if you did it and you had pin and you made a chainsaw and you had a buzz and you make a buzz chainsaw,
yeah.
Does that make a buzz saw?
Maybe.
We can name it that.
Yeah.
Send me that picture of the buzz. Was that of the buzz, Will? Todd,
I will put it on my Instagram today.
You got to send that to TJW.
Yeah, we will. I'm pretty excited about it, and I picked up last week some adult stuff to make puzzle clowns. So
yeah, I think that's another one that's really untapped. I mean, from a project perspective, like I think that the single, like when I was talking with Kevin last week from KDF, I think it looks great when you just see the puzzle clown by itself, but
right.
Those ones that are up, I think it's like Yellow Belly Blade Puzzle Clown. I think we talked about them. They're like 25 grand. I mean,
yep.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
even know if it had all that. I think it just had Yellow Belly Puzzle Clown.
So, maybe it's just a really drunk Super Blade clown. But I think that's another one where I think to be able to unlock it, and I could be wrong, I really think that it's going to actually be the dark genes. And then what you're going to have to do is add an Ultramel, add a Desert Ghost, add a Hypo back in to try to get, kind of a different color palette to it. Yeah, like DG Puzzle Clown.
That's the thing though. Like you don't know. Like who would have thought Lesser or Mojave and GHI would do what it does? Yeah. You know, who would have thought way back in the day putting 2 Yellow Bellies would do what it did?
Yeah.
And who would think like putting Yellow Belly to everything in your collection would change everything so dramatically?
All right. Well, it really changes it dramatically when you start hitting all ivories.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's just there's so much untapped and so many things. There's going to be so many great things coming out.
Yeah,
we're pretty soon. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to gray snakes. We're getting closer and closer to violets. We're getting closer and closer to like red. Like it's going to be crazy. None of the fake red ball. Super black ball, but a legit real red snake. Like I could see it coming. And
I kind of want a blue one though. I want blue and pink like your headphones.
Nothing beats these. I
call it the bubble gum. Well, I think there already is a champagne combo called bubble gum, but
yeah.
But I mean that's kind of been my hope. I think with some of the Ultramels, like that one I sent you, this week to have like the purpley pinks in it.
That's pretty awesome.
I think that T positive albinos potentially is part of your unlock to try to actually get closer to pinks because bananas you have to add so much in, and even with like Desert Ghost, I mean that Desert Ghost banana, I'm sorry, but man, I feel sorry for those folks that went all the way down that route. It doesn't excite me. I don't think it really did as much as it should have, but I think that Ultramel, I mean, you work it right. I think that's how you're going to get to the pink. I mean,
I agree. I mean, you've seen like in your Orange Dream that the dorsal has those reds starting to come out with the violets.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited to start moving things like Trojan that brings a lot of that cedar tone red and a lot of your back striping and stuff and a lot of your dorsaling. Bringing that.
There's some guys that scaled up. I can't remember the group, but if they're on here, I think there's somebody already working with the Trojan head Ultramel and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm
there's
excited.
So many people and so many things. Like there's going to be some bangers popping out like there is every year. People that get down about the industry and this and that. It's not going to end. It's just like a tattoo. If you get one tattoo, you're not going to have one tattoo. You see more and more breeders coming out, and it isn't because they want to make money. It's because they just love everything about the genetics. And I mean, how simple is it? I mean, you can, you feed them once a week. You clean them once a week. It's not like trying to have a litter of dogs.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I was going to like, well, a kid.
They can't 5 kids. Oh my gosh. That's why there's no hair in my head. Thank you, Willow Nelson. No, so it's there's a lot coming forward. I'm excited. I'm excited for the hobby.
I mean, I am too. And I mean, I hate to be real bullish on the Ultramel part, but I mean, Ultramel through the downturn here, I mean, has held its value better than some of the other genes. I mean,
I think what happens too is, I mean, like I love showing people pictures of a 2,400 gram 2,500 gram female Ultramel that's 5 years old, and I
Yeah.
could put it next to a baby, and there's not very much saturation. There's not a color difference. There's no fading.
Right.
That's Ultramel, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
then you start throwing other colors in, like you said, like pastels where people hate. It just gets brighter and holds those strong burgundies and everything as well. So,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's kind of like I said, my thing is that you can go, and even with like the different ultramills, correct me if I'm Will, if you're still on here, correct me. What is it? Ryan Young, Molecular Reptiles, right? I think his first name is Ryan. I know his last name is Young. But I mean, that dude, I mean, if you look at some of his ultramill combos, like his lines, the darks in the dorsal, I think, and some of those combos that you see are like they're really sharply defined. They're
yeah.
very, very, very burgundy, I would say, compared to some other people. And I know that there's supposed to be some line differences with Ultramel and stuff, but I
Who's to
mean,
say? Yes.
right.
It's just like Ozzy's Orange Dream. Like you just if you keep breeding your best stuff,
Yeah.
probably are gonna make people mad.
Yeah.
But that's an exciting gene as well. I wouldn't mind getting into Monarch, but I mean, honestly, it's like you have your VPI haters for, you know, Exantic. You have your TSK haters. Everybody's on the MJ line, but you know what? They all do the same thing. You know, it's
Right.
just line breeding to get the best of the best. And I think
Yeah.
Ozzy's one of the best examples of that. Like to go from Orange Dream to super high Orange Dream is probably because he just kept making them better and better.
Right.
And I feel like that's the way with any other genes that you're working with. So like
Yeah.
I try to keep my darks with my Ultramel and try to put them together. So I mean, like my Ultramel pieds that I've been trying to do for 6 years are
Yeah.
bangers, you know. So
No, right. I mean, and I think that's like the other thing too. I mean, I've seen multiple Ultramil ivories, but like I'll be the first to say, I mean, the one I snagged a couple years ago now from Marquee Reptiles, I mean, that thing's a smoke show. I mean, it's
that's
still
cool.
like salmon, pinkish orange, the whole snake is.
That's
And
cool.
then you just see like the little yellow and purple dashes down the back, which is, it's really cool when you can do something like an ivory. I hate to say it, but I mean, there's not a lot of other recessives out there that you can make an ivory version of that you're really going to get a color reaction with. I mean, clown, if you start throwing things like Enchi in and leopard, you can start seeing some cool stuff because I've got an ivory clown combo. But Ultramel, I think, is one of the few, and I think that that's why personally I've almost been kind of curious. I know some people are going to tell me I'm nuts. I mean, I'm kind of toying with it. I got my yellow belly sunset boy coming in this year. I'm like, at some point, if I've got an ivory girl laying around, I kind of want to mess around with it and just kind of see.
I could get that because sunset's such a dark color. It might
Yeah,
do something to the
right,
ivory.
right. And I love the sunset ultramills. I mean, I'd love to see, if you did sunset ultramill ivory, could you get it where you literally have like the sunset just all ghosted into an ivory, like you can see it
On the spine or something.
yeah, like almost metallic-y, but it's not there
Yeah.
unless you kind of shine it like a holographic.
Yeah,
I think I think that that's another thing that Ultramil does really well in a lot of those, I would say, light, like whitish, almost colored combos, is you can kind of get that when you play with it right.
they're fun. I mean, you open an Ultramel bin or whatever, and seems like there's an LED light in there, glowing for them because they're so
Yeah.
bright and they hold their colors. So
No, right.
yeah, there's a lot coming up, and I know a lot of these guys are doing a lot of neat stuff. So I'm excited to see them all. It's nice to go to a show because you're going to hear it a million times. Pictures do not do justice to these animals. So go to a show and look at these animals. And,
right. Even enhanced morph market pictures aren't going to do much justice to these animals. At the end of the day, especially when you're new, I think it's a really big thing. Even you're new to being just going from kind of like I kept snakes to I want to get serious about breeding and collecting and stuff. It really makes a difference, I think, going to the show and picking out those first few.
And maybe somebody that specializes in that. I mean, you don't want to spend $500, $1,000 on a snake that you know a little bit about. that
Right.
somebody's been doing for years. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's just kind of the thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I still get the excitement. Like, yeah, I mean, I do have stuff shipped in from online and stuff like that. I've had that before, but there is an excitement about like when you grab those, at the show, when you see them at the show and stuff. So, like, I mean, I bought my first, like, when I got into puzzle, I bought my first puzzle online from, Will here. And, I had him send me the bamboo puzzle and stuff. And I mean, it was awesome, but it was a totally different experience when you can go, especially like when you're new in a project, even. So, like, at that point, I had one puzzle, and then I
Yeah.
go to a show and I see, 5 or 6 puzzles and different combos on the table, and you see them different. It starts really, I think, spinning your gears
Oh,
more
that's where it
too.
starts to get fun. What could I
Yeah.
do by adding this and
What
this? And
what what could I do? What should I add? What do I really don't need, but I'm going
yeah,
to buy anyways? What do I have to ask the wife about? Right, people.
what don't I ask the wife about?
Oh, but I mean, yeah, I think that's just kind of the fun part, and I think again, I don't want to keep hammering this home, but I think that's why these regional shows, are so huge.
Yeah.
I love the NIRBC shows. Obviously, I do those. They're awesome for me. I get a lot of great connections there. I get to meet a lot of great new breeders. But what I love about the local shows is, besides kind of meeting the people in your backyard, sometimes is having those times like when the show is slow, or like that last hour of the show. Sometimes maybe it kind of slows down a bit, and you can really start spitballing with people on projects and
Yeah.
ideas and pieces and stuff. I mean, that's yeah, Sean's gonna get the shot collar.
That's where I'm super jealous because a lot of you guys have a second person on your table, and I think I don't, because they know if I leave, I'm not coming back for a long time. That shock collar thing you're talking about, I'd probably have one on both ankles and my neck.
Yeah.
It's
Well, here
just
we'll throw it out there. Willow, you won the VIP tickets. I'll throw in a free shock collar for your dad if you want. If you want to
oh
help him vend
jeez,
the table.
she would vent just to shock me, I'm sure.
Just to shock you. But you also have to do
I'd be
it
sitting
in,
right next to her.
wait. We'll one up it. You have to do it in the Hagrid suit.
Oh geez,
In the Hagrid suit, getting shocked.
that's great. I
You
could
know
see
what?
that blowing up on YouTube.
I'll give I'll give what I'm
Don't
gonna
listen to him.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't understand. Like, she's my horror flick girl. Like, the stuff most of my boys are afraid of and don't want to watch. You just put fuel into a fire, man.
We'll give Steve a second receiver, so we'll put one on each ankle.
Oh my
so
God.
Steve will get your left side, and Willow will have your other side. I think Todd just dropped. Todd. Well, this is a tread first start. He was having too much fun and he dropped. I don't know if his battery went out or what, but we'll give him a few minutes. Hopefully he can hop back in here. I'm not sure what happened, but he was having a lot of fun here. So we'll give it a couple minutes, because I really don't want to wrap the show up and be like, well, Todd fell offline and the show's over. But I scared him. Steve, did you go zap him? I demand my money back. I'm sorry, Nick Kennedy. This is a free show. This is a free show. We don't have sponsors, so he knows he'd zap the crap out of him. Shot collar got 10 times up. Oh, but this is part of, I think, doing live video. So like I said, we'll give a couple minutes, see if Todd joins here, kind of wrap up. Otherwise, in a couple minutes, we'll probably just end up circling it up here. But if anyone's got any questions, right now, while we're waiting to see if Todd can jump back in here, let me know. Let me know if you've got. I'm making sure he's not texting me and like, hey, I fell off or I can't get back on or something. But if anyone here's got any questions about Scaled Up, about the shows, anything you want to ask, definitely, feel free to shoot that out here. Get those questions answered. If you're curious about the next show, we've got Green Bay, coming up here around the corner here in a few weeks. What's in the cage behind me? Yeah, that's my baby Nile monitor. She's a real pain. Nope. Todd is working on it, folks. We are going to have Todd back here soon. Technical difficulties, right? You got 2 IT guys on, and that's when we get the technical difficulties. Nick is not real. This is all not real. Yep, that's right, Gary. I was just making the joke that we had 2 IT guys on, and naturally that's when we have this. You dropped literally right with the shock collar stuff, man. Everyone was nailing
on purpose. Yeah, I bet. Like,
I know. Todd just wanted to make such an early exit. This is
I'm out.
This is what happens when you have a rock band celebrity on your show. It's very hard to keep them.
When you were talking about Steve getting the other receiver, I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah. See, maybe we do that. We'll do like, ice bucket challenge. We'll do like shock collars challenge to raise money for Scaled Up or Madison Area Herp Society or something. There we go.
The sad part is a lot of you guys would do that.
Hey,
but it'd be one of the other vendors being like, "Let me do the dumping of the bucket. Let me do the electrocuting of this guy."
Me and Gary were already talking about trying to see if Dylan would let us have a dunk tank.
I was just going to mention that, and that's funny you guys said that. I missed it, but I was like, I bet you Dylan would be like, let's get a dunk tank in here.
Can we pay to have the controller? You know what? Maybe we will raffle off the controller on one of these. We will raffle off the controller. So you get 1 hour of free controller on your vendor of choosing.
There is a lot of dark people in here, man.
Welcome to the reptile industry.
True.
Yeah, see,
all to make your day happy.
Every time he says "world's first," I'll zap him. Well, I hope.
Oh yeah, no, that's a lot of zapping.
I know. I hope Canova doesn't start coming to the Scaled Up shows then, because if someone decides to put the collar on him, they'll be zapping him a lot.
He's picking on me because I bring that black pastel scaleless, and there wasn't any others. And
no, I got you.
That was just the punchline. So he'd look over at me and be like, "Really? Again?"
Yeah.
They need to know. It makes them feel more special when a little kid's holding an epic snake. So,
no, right. And the other thing I'll highlight for the folks who did watch last week, or if you saw the clip that came up where we were talking about the cool tread reptile head janitor shirts, our wonderful friend here, and I'm going to bring him up on the screen, wonderful Mr. Nick Kennedy here, has started to give us initial quotes and stuff. So I need to work with him to get the initial one done for myself, so that way I can kind of show you guys, how it's going to look. And then from there, all of our wonderful tread guests here will have the opportunity, if they would like, to get one of those cool shirts that will basically both have the tread logo on the shoulder. It'll have their name. It'll say Head Reptile Janitor, and then I'll have their business logo on the back. So, folks, if you're going to be on the tread, remember, if you've been on the tread, you can get one of those really badass reptile janitor logos, and get one of those shirts. It'd be like it's going to be Club Tread. If you get one, cool. There's only one way out. If you want out, we got to burn the piece. It's like a motorcycle club.
Very cool, Nick.
But so maybe we'll see Todd with one of these. We got to convince Todd to get one of these.
There's no convincing. I think it'd be cool.
There we go. But otherwise, folks, I've taken up over an hour of Todd's time. He's probably got to get up for work really early. And we need to make sure that he has energy for Green Bay, because Green Bay is going to be insane. And I think, Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, we're 2-3 weeks away from Green Bay. It's that first weekend in May, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. I think it's May. What is it? Is it May 7th? I believe is Green Bay. 2.5 weeks away. 2.5 weeks away. I think that would be May 7th, if I do my math right. But, folks, if you haven't gone to a Scaled Up show, definitely make sure you come on out. You come support. Come check the new location out in La Crosse. Definitely try out the other 3 as well. They're all great shows. A lot of really cool vendors. Come meet Todd in person. Come see him dressed up as Hagrid on Halloween for the Halloween-based shows. And come out and say hi. Come chat some Ultramel, puzzle, geckos with Gary. Next week, we're going to have Gary Warner. You don't know him. He's like one of the OGs in this industry, one of the first dudes to be messing with boom slings, and probably the only person I know crazy enough to freehand a boom sling. So next week's going to be another epic show for another scaled up vendor. I mean, I'm excited. We're going to be raffling off more tickets. We might up it. I'm thinking about buying some Rep to Post swag and throw that in with the tickets for folks. So, definitely make sure people join, come on out, support the shows, support the vendors. And, from my side, I appreciate everyone from tuning in, and I appreciate Todd for you coming on and, shooting shit with me. So
that Green Bay show is a good show. That's actually the first he didn't have, they weren't called Scaled Up before then. What were they called before that, Dylan? I don't even remember now. But that was my first show with these guys, was in Green Bay, and that first show was a banger, and that's why from that day on I was like, you gotta go to these guys' shows, man. He throws good shows. The people that come in, the vendors that are there, the lineups, it's A quality. So
yeah. It really is, and we've
Northern
already,
Wisconsin,
yeah. We've already joked about it too. We've been joking about that. Dylan should reach out to the Packers' first round draft pick and see if we can convince him to come to the show.
That'd be cool.
But for everyone from my side, though, I appreciate everyone tuning in, supporting Scaled Up shows, supporting Todd, myself, and this wonderful new podcast and venture that I'm on. But otherwise, besides that, I wish everyone a wonderful and happy Wednesday. And I will see you next week here with the one and the only Gary Warner. Take care, everyone.
You do a good job. Thanks for having me.
Yep, anytime.